Oh, okay, good morning. It's a real pleasure for me to be invited to introduce the World Conference on Higher Education, which will be organized by UNESCO next month in July, and to show you, obviously, and in a very, somebody forgot his watch, okay, to show you the natural links and obvious links between the World Conference on Higher Education of UNESCO and the 23rd ICDE World Conference on Open Learning and Distance Education. So, next slide. The title of the conference will be The New Dynamics of Higher Education and Research for Societal Change and Development. The World Conference main objectives, as you can read, second slide please, is to provide a global platform for forward-looking debate on higher education, first. Second, take stock of transformations in higher education since the 1998 World Conference. Third, address the new dynamics likely to shape the strategic agenda for the development of higher education policies and institutions. And fourth, reaffirm, sorry with my French English, the importance of higher education and research in meeting global challenges, as well as in building more inclusive, equitable and sustainable knowledge societies. Some facts and figures. Third slide. The World Conference will be held from the 5th to the 8th of July 2009 in Paris at UNESCO headquarters. The 5th of July will be the official inauguration of the World Conference by highly representative personalities like hopefully President Sarkozy will open the World Conference. We'll have the President of Slovenia, an African president, because as you will see, Africa is a priority of the, among priorities of the conference. A Secretary General of OECD, Mr. Angel Gouria will open, Sheikh Moza from Qatar, and many other high-level personalities to open the World Conference. And the real conference will start the 6th of July till the 8th of July. It's a Category 4 conference. On the contrary of the first World Conference, which was a Category 2, this one is a Category 4 conference, which allows more flexibility and offer more potentiality for the conference, and it will be a kind of converging process between a political dimension, an institutional dimension, and a civil society, private sector dimension. So the Category 2 offers us more flexibility and give possibility to express different views and different opinions on the challenges of higher education in the 21st century, and not only to be politically oriented as a Category 1 or Category 2 would have been. Interpretation, though, some common information, English, French, Spanish, Arabic, and in plenary session, in all plenary session and parallel session. 1,200 participants, and this is also one of the, how do we say, particularity of this World Conference. We don't want to reproduce the first World Conference, which was a massive conference. It was a date, an historical conference, the first World Conference on Higher Education and Research ever organized, and at UNESCO with all UNESCO partners. This time we want each participant to have a full visibility and legitimacy. So we want each participant to be part of this World Conference and to deliver message with a full legitimacy and visibility. So every member state has been asked to designate a delegation, official delegation of 4 people, including the ministers, and of course we will invite partnering NGOs, associations, and also experts for their personal abilities. As you can imagine, this creates some major problems. For example, countries like China and India said, how can we be treated the same way as Burkina Faso, Mali, etc.? But this is a particularity of UNESCO, to have a similar approach and an equal treatment of each country in the world. whatever they are, whatever the population. And it's important that each member state understand that we have to treat everyone in an equitable way. But of course, we will have many experts coming from different parts of the world and NGOs, associations, which will represent their institution to the World Conference. So 1,200, this means that we want to have a very active, proactive and interactive World Conference, and not to be only declarative in a political sense and diplomatic sense of declaration. So the World Conference, as the first one, has been prepared by regional preparatory events, and differently, so this is, next slide, differently from the first World Conference, which took 4 years of preparation, this one was very short in time and very, how do we say, very challenging also in its mission and objectives. So we had 6 preparatory regional forum or meetings. You can read it. I don't want to go too far on this. And you see that Latin America, the Caribbean islands, Asia and the Pacific, Europe, the Arab region, and Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, have been addressed in this issue. So the themes, the next slide, please, the themes. 2 overarching themes, again, higher education role in addressing major global challenges, because we are UNESCO, so we are UN, sustainable development, education for all, poverty eradication, and more generally, Millennium Development Goals, and also societal commitment to higher education and social responsibility of higher education, which will be 2 overarching themes of the conference. And as I said, among the priorities, the main priority will be Africa. We will have a special focus for Africa and promoting excellence to accelerate Africa's development towards an African higher education and research area. And I can tell you that the Dakar conference has been the most productive and the most, how do we say, efficient conference. The Dakar participation and the Dakar people who participated, ministers, civil society, entrepreneurial world also, medium, small enterprises, students, and also institutions, etc., define the objective of the African challenge in higher education in research in 2 major trends, 2 major areas. First, can Africa initiate, develop, and install an African space for higher education and research, not copying the Bologna process, but creating its own agenda and developing its own agenda for higher education and research in a sub-Saharan African context. So this is a real challenge and one of the most important challenges for UNESCO for the next coming 10 years with African partners. The second message from Africa was very clear and very precise. They said we want to focus and we want UNESCO with all its partners to help us to focus on what they call the STEM dimension. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM, as a stem cell in English, you know. STEM, because they want deeply to focus on that. And you know that this is not only a challenge for Africa, it's a challenge all over the world, because young generation of people prefer to be to work in different activities instead of scientific, technology, engineering matters. And we have to see how can we attract or re-attract the young generation to come to science, to mathematics, to physics, to chemistry, to biology and medical activities, and to promote these activities and to find ways to attract. And also a major challenge, not only in Africa, but even in Europe and all over the world, to attract people to become teachers at secondary, technical, vocational and secondary level, because we are all aware that when some people and young people especially have competencies in mathematics, physics, biology, they prefer to go in other activities than in teaching activities.